Amala Yoga. If there be exclusively a benefic in the 10th from the ascendant or the moon, Amala Yoga exists. Note exclusively a benefic in the 10th from the ascendant. Okay. Amala Yoga will confer fame lasting as long as the moon and stars endure, and will make the native honored by the king, enjoy abundant pleasures, be charitable, fond of relatives, helpful to others, pious and virtuous. Okay. So Amala means stainless. The person enjoys a sterling reputation since they do good works that benefit society and show goodwill to others in their public dealings. And now this is not an extremely uncommon yoga, but there's certain things that can also make it more or less powerful. And the specific thing it's associated with is this idea of fame that endures, posthumous fame in particular. Not that the fame would start after, begin after death, but it tends to be enduring, right? And the person's reputation tends to sort of remain untainted. Now, Robert Hand, it so happens, has Amala Yoga. There's the moon in the 5th house in Libra, and Jupiter exalted in the 2nd house. And by the way, just referring back to the 2nd house and its association with erudition and knowledge, that exalted Jupiter in the 2nd is something that would in Jyotish be considered very good for an astrologer, whereas one wouldn't think that way in Western astrology. But more to the point, in terms of Amala Yoga, Jupiter is here in the 10th house from the moon, and it is exalted. Now, if we had to be a bit technical and look for some fault or flaw, blemish, right? The fact is that in Vedic astrology, Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all have special aspects in Vedic astrology. All planets aspect any other planet in the same sign or house, any other planet opposite, but Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter have their own special aspects. I don't want to digress too far with this. Very simply, Jupiter basically casts the equivalent of a trine. Okay, so Jupiter aspects the 5th and 9th houses from its position. Saturn aspects the 3rd and the 10th houses from its position. So if you have Saturn in the 12th, it will aspect your 9th as well as your 2nd. So basically, technically, Saturn is aspecting this Jupiter slight little, it doesn't, in my opinion, in my understanding of the criteria of this yoga, it doesn't cancel it. But that is the closest thing you could find to any issue, and it's a minor one. Okay. And if anything, Jupiter's exaltation here gives this yoga a great deal extra power, which, by the way, also happens to be a Gaja Kesari yoga. Can you see that sometimes, this is an example, this constitutes both a Gaja Kesari yoga because there's an exalted Jupiter angular from the moon, but it's also being specifically in the 10th house from the moon creates Amala Yoga.